Hi there everybody and welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Nissan Micra, this is a K13 I think, it's a 2012 and I'm going to be changing the front brake discs and pads. So I'm going to start by opening the brake fluid reservoir here, just taking that little cover out, the little cap. And the reason I'm doing that is because when we change the pads, we push the pistons back and then the fluid comes back up here. And if that is closed, you will have resistance and you won't be able to push the pistons back. Also, if your brake fluid reservoir here is a bit too full, like this one seems to be a bit full, you might get some brake fluid dripping out of here once you start pushing the pistons back. So you could always wrap it around with some paper or something to absorb if some fluid comes out. Sometimes a bit of paper is not enough, but at least you can absorb a little bit. I'm trying to get that there. I'll just put it just in case, not sure if that's going to happen or not, but it has happened to me many times. So at the moment I can see this is pretty full, because sometimes as the pads wear out, the fluid goes down, and then we top up the fluid in here to keep it at the max. However, as the pads wear down, when you push those pistons back, it pushes the fluid back out. So having said that, I'm gonna get the car up and remove the front wheels. So I'm hoping you know how to remove your front wheels. You got your locking wheel nut and you have to remove those and get those wheels out. And I think that's a 19 mil, those. So the discs I'm gonna be using are this here, brake fit. That's the part number there for this Nissan. So and the pads are these ones here. Make sure you get the correct parts for your vehicle, because sometimes they differ slightly depending on the engine that you have and whatnot. You may have bigger discs, vented, thicker, whatever. So it doesn't always fit. The parts that I have here may not fit your car. So just make sure you get the ones that you need. Also because, but the procedure will be pretty much the same of changing them. It's just that the parts could be different. That's what I meant to say. Right. So I'm gonna get the car up and remove those tires. When you take your discs out of the box and their little bags, you may find that they are covered with a bit of oil. So just wipe that oil out. It's just, I think they put it on to prevent corrosion forming on the disc. So just wipe it out or clean it with some, I'm just putting some brake cleaning fluid on it a little bit and wiping the disc. And another thing is, some discs come already sort of ready to fit, and some others you need to scratch them a little bit, or just need to remove the surface, the painted surface from them a little bit. Nothing too crazy really. I mean, the pad will end up cleaning that as well, but just to give you a better grip with those few first miles, then you could just get a bit of emery paper or something like that and just rub them a little bit. To be honest, I think these are already ready to fit. They're not like some of them come with a type of gray paint. You can just about see it on there, and that's what we normally try to remove. However, these are not too bad, like I said. Maybe just a little bit, just scratch there, and on the other side, just getting them ready, fit them really. That is all I'm doing here. So I will go ahead and finish that and do this one as well, and then we can move on to removing our caliper and the caliper carrier here. So it looks like a 13mm bolt and a pair of pliers to hold this bit in. So gonna finish with the caliper. I meant to say I'll finish with the discs. So I have finished with the discs. So just wipe them a little bit once you've gave them a little bit of a rub down. And I'm going to be doing one side. I'm just going to show you how to do one side, because the other side will be exactly the same approach. And we have a 13mm there, and we want to just crack this open. Once you get it open, you need to hold the inner part there. That's it. Now we're gonna get some pliers and hold that there. Okay, so with those pliers, I'm just going to hold the inside bit sort of. Okay. It is a little bit tight, so we could try to get our spanner as well in there. Okay, so normally I just use one of these to hold that in there, but it seems to be a little bit hard today to do that. So anyway, I'm using a 15mm in there, and we can then undo that bolt there. Doesn't normally feel this tight, but sometimes with the heat and whatnot, this can get a bit stuck. Right, so we have that off, and then we do the same for the bottom one. Actually, I don't normally completely remove it until I do the bottom one as well. Okay, with those two loose and ready to come out, I'm just going to use my disc and caliper here to push the piston back. You may be able to see how that piston is going in. So we just take advantage. There we are. Now that is, piston is all the way back now. Now we can remove these bolts Just be careful not to drop your caliper or let it hang, because we want to be careful with this hose here. So I'm just gonna put that there, that hook, and I'm just gonna hang it up there in the meantime. Now we have our carrier here, and we want to release the carrier. I think that is an 18 mil. Could be an 18 or a 19, let me check. Or actually a 17. And I have a power bar here to release that, because they can be a bit stuck sometimes. There we are. Crack them open, and hopefully we can take them out. Maybe I'll just use my small ratchet here. Once we have this off, also the pads are here. These pads don't look completely terrible or worn out, it's just that the discs are getting a bit thin, quite thin. They have quite a lip. Although this side looks like this as well, the other side, the pads are a bit thinner. So that's another reason I'm changing this today. Again, a lot of people may disagree or tell me I'm changing pads and things for no reason, but there is a reason. So just do what you need to do if you want to do it. If you don't do it. Okay, so you can see that carriers already. Okay, so we can just take the bolt out and remove the carrier there. And then I am going to wire brush this. Just clean everything here. Okay, so I just wire brushed this. The reason mine are a little bit wet because we washed the car a bit earlier. However, you can just see once you wire brush it, all of this comes out, and it comes out quite nice and clean. This one looks a little bit dirty because of the water. Anyway, that's our carrier. Just wire brush it. And then we also want to remove the disc. So this disc doesn't have, normally there's a screw or something holding the discs in there as well, but this one doesn't have that. So we'll just get it out. It's probably a little bit stuck. To use the heavy hammer. Take it out. So with your old disc out, maybe you just want to give a little wire brushing to the area here. Nothing too crazy. just going to put a little bit of copper grease around there, the area here. Bit of these studs as well. Again, nothing too crazy. And the disc is ready to go. In there. Again, just clean your disc if you get any oil or any dirt on them. And now we can fit our caliper carrier back on there. So don't know if that's going to go all the way in, but we can hold the disc a little bit in there with one of these momentarily. Just put one of those in there. And you can get your carrier back on there. Okay, just putting the bolts in there because I'm messing around with one hand. It's all a little bit more fiddly, but still doable. Now, manual recommends to tighten these those to 60 Newton meters. So if you have your torque wrench, go ahead and tighten them to 60 Newton meters. I'm just using my power bar here to tighten them up, but the difference is that I often do this, so you get a bit of a feel for tightening them. But if it's the first time you're doing it or whatever, then make sure you use a torque wrench, because at the end of the day you don't want to damage anything in here. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of copper grease on these sides where the pads slide, I mean, just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. And then we can get our pads, new pads in there. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this pad, the one with this bit here, on this side here, like that. Get the other pad on the other side. Like so. And now we are pretty much ready to fit our caliper back. So again, just a little bit of copper grease there, and on this side. Again, nothing too crazy. Another thing, you can wire brush your caliper if it's corrosion around it, or you find a lot of dirt or whatnot. Just wire brush it a little bit, but be careful with this rubber here. This dust cover that covers the piston here can get pierced with this, so just be aware of that. So I may just give a quick brush to this and we'll come back to it. So just one more thing before fitting our caliper back in here. You can check that these are moving, that you can actually move them, and also just inspect them a little bit. That rubber there, sometimes if a hole forms in there or some kind of cut in there, then water goes in there and it tends to seize these little pistons. You can remove these as well, like so, if you want to clean them and apply some moly grease. So moly grease you can fit in them. Usually if they are okay and they've been no holes or anything in them, then they will be fine. You don't really need to do anything with them, but at some point you could clean them and put some new moly grease on them. I mean, this car is only done 40,000 miles or so, so these are still in good condition. Right, now let's fit our caliper. Get this out. And we have our bolts. So these are our bolts, and you will see there's a little blue stuff on them. That little blue stuff usually is like it sort of prevents the bolt from coming out. So you could always use some of this stuff. This is I can't even see, but it's a little bit of a liquid that you put on the bolt. Just a little bit there, and then we're going to fit that in there. And it's going to basically do the same thing as the original. It's like a little bit of glue, really, but not the kind of glue that you can't take out. It just breaks apart when you take it out. So same with the bottom one. You can see that one's a bit red, but that could be because normally if you're only changing the pads, you would normally just remove one of these. So you remove the bottom one and you can slide the caliper up a bit, and then you can get your pads in there. Right, let's get this in there. So we're almost finished here, really. Now these get tightened to 27 Newton meters. Again, not a lot of force, so don't snap them, don't break them, just be aware of that. Right, now I need to get that out. Okay, same for the bottom one. I think the technical data says 27 Newton meters, so even if you did it 25, that will be fine. So like I said, I'm not using a torque wrench, but if you have one, definitely use it so you don't snap them. If you snap that in there, then you will need to try and get it out if you can't get it out. So that's it, we're pretty much done here. So like I said, if you snap that, you'll have to change these as well, possibly, unless you can take the bolt out. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other side, exactly the same procedure, and all we have left to do is put our wheel on here. And if you see any grease or anything on your disc, just clean it off so you don't contaminate your pads. So just move your wheel and then clean whatever you may see in there. Also, before fitting the wheel, I will put a bit of copper grease along here. Just usually do. Don't worry if your disc is like this. That is normal. You will get secured with your wheel. The reason the other one was not moving is just because it gets corrosion around here and it gets stuck. But normally it would be moving like that, so that's not a problem. And the last thing to do would be to, once you finish both sides, make sure you get into your car, pump the brake a few times until it's hard, and then go and close your brake fluid reservoir. Don't forget that. And if you notice that it's overflown, just clean it a little bit. So we'll have a look at that. Okay, so you may be able to notice how this is overflown and leaked all over my paper here. So my paper is completely wet from absorbing some of that fluid, even dripping. And this is exactly what happens sometimes. So that fluid would have dripped down onto the chassis and whatnot. So we want to really give it a wash. So once you finish finish your brakes, close this off and give that area a wash. So now I'm just gonna pump the brake in. So I've got my brake, it will go all the way in. So just pump it a few times until it's hard again. Sounds a bit dodgy, but anyway, so your brake fluid will go down in a little bit, and then we can go ahead and refit this. And all the overflowing is all around these pipes. The reason we want to wash it is because it's a little bit corrosive, so it will corrode the areas that is touched. So just wash it as much as you can. Not the end of the world. It's just, you can just wash it with water. So having said that, we're pretty much done here. So I do hope this video helps you, and don't forget to subscribe and give me the thumbs up if you like my video. And we'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.